Hey everyone, I hope you don't mind. I'm a little early tonight, but I wanted to get things rolling for dinner. This is kind of a more involved dinner than I usually do, but I have some things to use up. I wanted to test out the Sous Vide steak, and I am duplicating a recipe per request by my daughter. So we have a lot going on tonight, but it's going to be great. So what we're doing is we're making green beans, and I wanted to show you how I make them. They're really easy, and we're also doing mac and cheese in this little pot. And the mac and cheese is a recipe from our Taste Buds collection. You may have heard me talk about this in the past, but basically what it is they send you 3 of our seasonings, and each month one of the seasonings is exclusive to Taste Buds. It's not available in a regular catalog, and they include these recipes that are so good. Every time I make them more than once, and that's great because you have plenty to use in the seasoning. So we're going to be making this the second time. I've made it before, and we're going to be finishing the Sous Vide steak that I have going in the deluxe multi-cooker. If you caught my live earlier this afternoon, you saw how that kind of came together. So we're going to finish it at the very end of all of this. So the first thing I need to do is cut up an onion. So we are going to thinly slice it. This is definitely a more savory mac and cheese. It's not traditional, but we really enjoyed it. So I am going to thinly slice this, and if I were smart, I would have had our mandolin or our simple slicer handy, but it's in the back of my car. But we have that on special this month, so it's 25% off to use our simple slicer, and our mandolin, both 25% off. They're both really great products. So if you don't like using a knife, definitely grab one of those to use instead. They're really nice. I'm kind of kicking myself. I should have gotten it out of the car, but it's so yucky outside. But anyway, so, I'm going to heat this up. So I'm using this little saucepan to make this. Hopefully that fits. Oh, that's not what I want. And I'm just going to heat this up on medium. I am going to take, well, these handles do come off. Let me take this off. So I am going to put some butter into the pot. We're going to do 3 tablespoons about. I just got butter on that. Oh well. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of butter in there. And then we're going to let this melt. And then we're going to thinly slice our onions. If you do not have a sharp knife, that is one of the best investments you can ever make in your kitchen. This 8-inch chef's knife is the one that I use constantly. I'm always using it. So I highly recommend it. But we're going to really thinly slice this. And if you have a family that's not super into onions, you could finely chop this and it'll basically disappear into the mac and cheese. Onions was always my mom's secret to her mac and cheese growing up, so when I saw that that was part of this recipe, I was kind of excited. But we're gonna throw this into the pot here, and we're gonna let this cook down pretty good. Now the recipe is an herb and onion recipe, so that's why we're using so much. But we're gonna definitely let that cook out there for a little bit, and then we're gonna shred some cheese. We're going to do about 8 ounces of this. And I'm going to do it into a bowl. Shredding your own cheese is always going to be the best choice. It doesn't have all that anti-caking agent on it that kind of can make the texture of your melted cheese weird, like especially in like broccoli soup and stuff like that. But if that's what you have, use that up. We've been using a lot of cheese lately. So this cheese grater is nice because you can fold it. Let me show you. It folds at an angle, so you can grate it like that. You can fold it flat, so it doesn't take up a lot of space in your cabinet. And then, of course, you can do it just like that, which is how I usually do it. I'm usually grating into something. Okay. Just making sure that I'm reading that recipe right. This mac and cheese recipe, I really like it too because the noodles cook in the sauce. So you don't have to pre-cook the noodles and then cook the cheese and then mix it together. It all cooks as one. So it gives it a really good flavor. I love this recipe. I'll probably use this for a long time. And it calls for white sharp cheddar cheese, but I don't have white. I just have yellow, so that is going to work. I think that's probably 8 ounces. I don't know. That'll be great. So we're doing that. So that was pretty quick. That cheese grater is awesome. It doesn't take a lot of muscle strength to do it, and it's been a while since I've had to use one of the cowbell ones, but those ones seem like they take so much time to actually get through a block of cheese versus that one. And plus, they're so hard to clean. I always cut myself on those cowbell ones. Cleaning up on the inside of it. I need to bang it on the side of the counter. This is way easier. Plus that's dishwasher safe, so I really like that. So that's gonna cook down some more. So the seasoning that we are gonna be using is the herb and onion seasoning. And like I said, it came in the taste buds. However, I already have it because we do sell it in the these little tubs. These are so great. I use this all the time. So I'm giving this one away. So if you want in on the giveaway for this, just comment down below, put me in the giveaway, and I will do a drawing. It counts in the replay too. I won't do the drawing until Monday, so you'll have a chance to watch the video. Just make sure you comment so I know that you want this. Okay, so, and I'll give you the recipe too so you can recreate this. That'll be perfect. So we've got that going. So what's going to happen to this is I'm going to add in, oh, I do need to add some salt into that. And we're going to add in garlic at the very end and cook that till it's fragrant. I like to really, I like to use our garlic press for that. We're just doing 1 clove because we're going to have garlic in the seasoning also. So that'll go in. And then I'm also going to be doing some white wine and some vegetable stock. So I am not going to measure the white wine. I'm going to do that just by eyeballing it. But we're also doing chicken stock and we're also doing milk. So I'm going to do a cup of stock. The recipe actually calls for veggie stock, but I don't ever have that on hand. So I would recommend using chicken stock if you don't have that. So we're going to do a cup of broth and a cup of milk. So we're just going to go up to the 2-cup line. Just give our onions a stir. They smell so good. Let me show you what they look like. I mean, anytime you use onions and you cook them in butter, I feel like dinner smells so good already. It doesn't even matter what happens next. So I've got that pre-measured. And I'm actually going to put the seasoning into here. That way when I pour it in, it's all done. I don't have to measure a bunch of different things. And we're going to do a tablespoon. This herb and onion seasoning is also really good for roasts. That's probably what I use it for the most. Oh, it looks like a rhyme. Let's see if it... Good on veggies too. So this is going to be really good. And this is going to pair really nicely with the steak that we're making. So I've got the seasoning, broth, and milk in there. And so I also have going on our green beans. And let me show you how I make this. So this is our family skillet or our 12-inch executive non-stick skillet. It fits a ton. I think there's 2 pounds of green beans in here. This is so nice for a bunch of ground beef, for pancakes, for a big pasta dish. You can do so much with this. I use it a lot. So what I have in here is fresh green beans, and I have water kind of coating the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this kind of steam inside of here, and then I'm going to lift the lid and let the water evaporate, and then I'm going to add in some seasonings, some garlic, onion, salt, and butter, and just let that cook and simmer, and it tastes so good. That's how I've been able to get the same results that you get, like, I don't know if you have like a Chinese buffet near you, but we have one kind of close to us up in Altoona, and they always have the best green beans, and it's just because they're like loaded with garlic. It's so good, and they just are perfectly cooked. So I think, so that's how I kind of like my green beans, and I think it's really easy. It's one of those things that can kind of just sit and cook on the side. So the trick is to make sure that your green beans turn bright green. Like, that's the color you want. And once they're bright green, you kind of want to stop the cooking process, because that's when they'll start to turn, they'll darken and they get kind of like cafeteria style. So I don't want that. I just want them to be just cooked. Okay, so we have, our onions are looking delicious. They're almost ready for the next step. So let me tell you what we're going to do with this. I'm going to be adding in, you know what, I'm going to do this now because I think we're ready. I think reading the steps ahead, I feel confident. So this is our garlic press. This is the product that helped me fall in love with Pampered Chef. I adore this. It is not like all the other garlic presses you may have seen in the market. This one actually works really well, and you can use the skin on the garlic, and you just squeeze and press, and out it goes. So I love it. And 9 times out of 10, the peel comes off right on the pusher tool here. And so you never have to touch the garlic. You can use fresh garlic and it's not a burden. I really love that. So go ahead and put that in the sink. And you want to cook the garlic a little bit before you add anything else. And you really want it to meld into like the butter and the onions and things like that. It's gotten so fragrant. It's delicious. And what we're going to do next is we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. And what this does is it's going to thicken the cheese for us. And in order, anytime you want to thicken, what you need is butter, basically, and equal parts flour. So when you have butter and flour mixed together and you let it cook, it's going to get like a paper bag brown. And then you'll add in a liquid. And then you're going to have a great sauce. So you can do a lot of things with that. And we're going to add the flour right into the onions. And so you can add veggies. You can do that with mushrooms. You can do it with tomatoes. You can do it with whatever you want. And it really helps give you that like really luxurious, you know, not super watery or thin. It's just really good. Let me go grab my flour. I keep these little, we call them, I think they're called coffee scoops. They're stainless steel. I just keep these right in my flour container because they're 4 tablespoons. So if I need 2, how much do I need 2? Yeah, so I need 2. So I need about half of a scoop of this. So I don't have to go digging around for a tablespoon measure. And I just keep it in there. I have one in my rice, I have one in my sugar, and I have one in my flour. Okay, so now we need to cook the flour. This is what's going to give it that really like rich and like warm flavor. So like I said, you want it to turn like a paper bag brown. If you just like throw the flour in, you're going to get like the way that raw flour smells, you're going to kind of get that flavor. It's not super pleasant. This way you're going to get like that like bready, you know what I mean, starchy deliciousness. Okay, that looks really good. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to deglaze the pan. We're going to do that with about a 1/4 cup of white wine. I always have white cooking wine in my fridge. I usually buy these 2 at a time. I use this so often. If I am cooking chicken or shrimp or fish or anything of that nature, pork, I'll like sear it and then I'll add white wine around it and to pick up all those bits and incorporate them in. You can of course add flour, and it just gives you like, you know how you don't want to lose all that flavor? This is a great way to pick it up and put it into your food. I also love this in my chicken noodle soup. I use white wine in there too. So I use a lot of white wine. You do, if you're using regular wine, like this is non-alcoholic. If you're using a regular wine especially, you definitely want this to cook down a little bit before you add anything else, or else it's going to be a little bit bitter. So this is cooking nicely, and then we're going to add in, so we're going to add in all of this. And I'm not going to miss any of that seasoning that we got in there. And we're also going to add in the pasta. This is half a box, and I'm using the medium shell, so you could use elbow, you could use whatever you like. And we're going to bring this to a boil. Yep. So, and we're just going to keep our eye on it. And so we're going to bring it to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm going to throw a lid on it, reduce it to a simmer, and it's just going to cook until the pasta is tender. So it's all one pot. You don't have to drain the water or anything. It cooks all together. It reminds me of like Hamburger Helper, but this doesn't have any like preservatives or like funky stuff, and honestly, this is way less expensive. Hamburger Helper used to be so inexpensive. Nowadays, it is not so much. But this is kind of the same vibe. Okay, so we have this cooking, we have that cooking. So what I'm going to do is at the very end, you probably won't see this happen. Maybe you will, we'll see. I'm going to add in 8 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to add in half of a cup of milk and 2 ounces of Parmesan cheese. And then stir it all together, and that's going to be done. So this is pretty much like, so the heavy lifting for this is done. This is starting to get a nice simmer going. So I'm going to go ahead and start prepping our steak. All right, so sorry, I disappeared. So if you can see over there, there is my deluxe multi-cooker, and my steak has been cooking in there for a couple of hours. And so it was cooking in a water bath set to 135 degrees. And that's what sous vide does. Sous vide cooks your food in a water bath that's set to a temperature to what you want your food temperature to be. So there's no rushing around or second guessing how cooked or undercooked or overcooked your food is. So if you put chicken or pork or steak or eggs, if you've ever had the sous vide egg bites at Starbucks, this is exactly how they do it. We actually have a dupe recipe that is really delicious for that. You can also do vegetables, and it comes with a ton of charts on how to do all those things. And you can even include seasonings and like herbs and things like that as it's cooking, so it infuses your steak with those flavors while it's cooking. So it's really good. If you want more information about that, check out my last video that I did if you haven't already, and it gives you more of a detailed explanation of what that's like. So we're gonna use, I'm trying to decide if I should use this pan. Maybe I'll use my bigger pan. So I'm going to use a stainless steel skillet for this. A cast iron skillet is another really great choice. I just love stainless, and I love ours because this has a kind of a non-stick interior into it, and this gives you a true like non-stick cooking experience. So you can cook your chicken and your fish and things like that and not worry about stuff like getting stuck to the bottom. But you still get the great sear that stainless steel tends to offer. So this is a really good piece of cookware to add to your collection. You have probably seen pans like this on the market. Many try to copy us, including celebrity chefs. But the biggest tell between if they're using ours or if they're using a lower quality is going to be the lack of rivets. So ours doesn't have rivets here, which I really like. Ours also carries a lifetime warranty, so these are great pans. They're titanium and aluminum, so they have great heat conductivity, and they won't ever come out of shape. So it won't pop in the center, it won't go out of round. It has really even cooking. And so I can get this really hot because I'm not worried about cooking the steak. I am just getting a sear at this point because the steak is already at the temperature I need it. We're just getting that nice juicy crust on the outside of it. So this is to a boil, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mac and cheese down to a low, medium low, and I'm just going to let this simmer and keep kind of checking on it for 10 minutes. I am going to set a timer for that just because it'll help me with that. Okay, so let's check out the steak. Okay, so here's the steak. It's been cooking in this reusable bag for about 3 hours. I could set it to 2, but I just wanted all of the time between now and then. And it's gonna look a little weird. Because it's been cooking in water. So we haven't quite poached it, but it's similar. And so all I'm going to do is I am going to pat this dry and try to get rid of any moisture on the outside of it, because that way we get that great sear that we would from the pan. Because anytime you have moisture in your skillet, you're going to lose some of your searing power because it has to cook through the water before it can get to the meat. So if you've ever seen me on my stories and things like that, say like friends don't let friends skip drying their meat or anything like that, that's exactly why. So this is a flank steak, which traditionally isn't the most tender kind of steak, so I was excited to use this. This pan is getting nice and hot. I'm going to use a combination of butter and oil. I really like doing that because butter tends to burn really quickly, but I like the flavor that it gives. So I add oil to it to help increase the smoke point, so it prevents the butter from burning. And I also have this infused oil that I really like using. So that's kind of how I tend to do this. We're going to add in a really healthy amount of butter. And you want your pan to be hot before the meat hits it. So you can see that this is already starting to brown. This is Wegmans Basting Oil. I swear by this. This stuff is so good. If you're in Wegmans, grab 1 or 2 of these. It's infused with herbs and garlic. Love it. And I want to let this get really hot because we're going to just sear our meat. We're not doing much else. Okay, so the green beans are pretty much done. So I'm just going to let this water burn out a little bit. And I'm just going to add salt. They're actually a little overcooked. No problem. I'm going to do some pepper. I'm going to do some garlic powder. I'm going to do a lot of garlic powder. I like them garlicky. And then I'm going to do some onion powder. And at the very last second, I'm going to add butter. And that's pretty much it for the green beans. Super easy. That's really nice for meal prepping too. Let's stir that around, let it cook down. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Nice and hot. So we're going to get a beautiful sear. It's just going to take a couple of minutes. I hope you can hear me. I know that the audio sometimes suffers from all the sizzling going on my stovetop. But you don't want to move this around too much. You want to kind of let it do its thing without breaking contact with the pan. So you can just peek at it to double check. And I am going to be posting pictures of what it looks like when it's done, like cut open. Because I know that's really like the reveal, like when you get to see it sliced. So that's what we're going to do. I had it cooked to medium in the deluxe multi-cooker, which by the way, that is also a pressure cooker. So it's not just a sous vide machine. It does pressure cooking, sous vide, and you can steam and sanitize in it. It has a yogurt setting. You can make your own yogurt. It's a really useful product. I use it a lot in my home. And if you caught our live last week, I used it for the broccoli cheddar risotto. So if you want to see the pressure cooker end of it, definitely go check that out. I want to make the sous vide egg bites really soon. Maybe I'll make that next week. That would be really fun. You guys. Look at that. Holy Hannah. That looks beautiful. I am going to stir our mac and cheese. You can kind of see how delicious that is turning out. It's going to be so good. It sounded like someone was coming into the house and needed to check. But anyway. And you could, if you wanted to be really fancy, you could keep basting this, or you could like keep pouring the butter over top. That would be really good. So I am basically done. I'm just going to add the cheese to this and a little extra milk. My smoke detector is super dramatic, so don't mind that. Like literally, everything's fine here. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. Sorry. I swear I'm not burning anything. But yeah, thank you so much for checking this out. If you have any questions, especially about the TV, please let me know. I really think that you will like it. I love the results it gives me. In fact, I'm going to take the steak off right now so you can see what it looks like. It does need to rest before I can cut into it, but let me flip you around so you can see it. I mean, does that not look perfect? So I'm going to slice this open. It's going to be perfectly cooked, like top to bottom, super even cooking. We've got our green beans ready, and then we've got our mac and cheese cooking. So dinner's looking delicious. Don't forget, if you want in on the giveaway, I am sending out the urban onion along with the recipe. You'll get a copy of the recipe that I used for the mac and cheese. Just let me know in the comments that you want in on the giveaway. And I'm doing the giveaway on Monday, so if you are catching the replay, you can still get in on this, and I'll send that right to your door. All right, I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. See you next time.